Following senatorial elections that took place in Cameroon across all 10 regions of this nation, the ruling civilian party emerged winner, grabbing all 70 elective positions or seats at the level of the Senate, and after which we had the appointment of 30 other senators as according to the constitution of the nation. The President of the Republic did those appointments, at the end of which 5 positions were located to the opposition parties. We are going to be looking at the senatorial elections and the future for Cameroon's democracy in today's edition of the program. We also are going to be looking at what MPs did during this first ordinary session of the National Assembly that took place, that ended last week out there in Yaoundé, the nation's capital. Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to Prime R on My Media Prime. We are going to be looking at these 2 topics for tonight with our panelists who are seated already. Paddy Asanga, a fervent militant of the Social Democratic Front, resident in Hamburg, who is in the nation Cameroon. He just returned from Bamenda, capital of the Northwest region, last night. He's going to be sharing some experiences of his going up to Bamenda with us this evening. Paddy, we are glad to have you once again on Prime R.
Good evening, Mr. Liu, and thanks for the confidence that you people have confided in my person. And I have noticed that I am one of those privileged citizens. Each time I'm here, I'm humbled when you people invite me. That withstanding, I want to extend my convivial greetings to all the Abakwa boys who were around me. You know, the security situation in Bamenda is so precarious that I wouldn't want to expose them to danger. And I also want to say thank you for all the people of my village, Babatu, that I went there. And, you know, late the first Secretary General of the Social Democratic Front, my late uncle, Siga Asanga, is buried in our family compound in Babatu. And it is 26 years since he died. So I had to go and keep him a memory, and I think that he merits that. And that notwithstanding, I also want to thank and congratulate all those my fans, followers, and particularly the 2-0 of Hamburg in Germany. And I'm telling them that the task that they have given to me, I'm up to it, and I'll keep updating them as I stay on the ground. Thank you, Mr. Liu.
We're also in the company of Mr. Tita Inuhu, who is the Mungu coordinator for the Popular Action Party. We're glad to have you on Prime R.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. I am really happy. I am present here today. I am present not in my name, but in the name of the Popular Action Party. And I think all the televiewer of My Media Prime already know the party, Popular Action Party. We are going to talk more or throw more light on the agenda of the party, and then follow the topic at hand today. I would like to also greet Fekemshi II of Baba 1, and also my president, my national president, President Jean Dennis, and all the televiewer of My Media Prime, and all the crew of My Media Prime. Thank you. I'm glad to be here with you today.
We're also in the company of Tah Mai Javis, who is sitting in for Mr. Shune Siaka, who just informed us this evening that he was not going to be part of today's edition of the program because he was tied up with other duties. Thank you for coming. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Leo. Good evening to Abakwa boy. I didn't know he would muster the courage to move through the shadow of death welcome back to Douala, and we thank God for Jenny Mercy, and we pray that God should continue to guide you. Special good evening to the peace-loving people of the Northwest and the Southwest region, and those across the 8 regions of the rest of the 8 regions of the country. Good evening to the peace-loving people of Way Village, my village where I come from, and of course Moya, the people of Moya, who have not been able to have electricity for the past 3 months as we speak. So it is Monday, it's start of week, and I just hope that we are going to do justice to the topic, and the views that we are giving are based on our individual analysis. Those who are always not comfortable with some of our positions should be aware that my media prime is open for all to participate in their political debate, talk show, and so I just want to let you know that we are open, so the number, your number is always on the screen. They want to participate, they should come and participate.
Okay, we are going to start this edition of the program with you, Paddy Asanga, after the declaration of results and the appointment, overwhelming majority for the ruling CPDM party. Regrettable for the Cameroon's democracy, or an apt reflection of what obtains on ground?
Yes, Mr. Leo, I'm going to be very blunt on this one, because democracy entails participation, and you have to understand the electoral colleges of municipal election, presidential election, senatorial elections. And I don't know if it's thanks to the crisis or it's thanks to abstinence from Cameroonians that they expect something that they don't really understand how to get it. So talking about the senatorial elections and the Senate itself, my personal view is that it should be scrapped. It is some kind of a budgetivore institutions that is a resonant ground for retired people, where Paul Biya remunerates his friends. Why should he hold 30 seats? Why should he appoint senators? I don't believe in appointment. So I think that if you know the configuration and what I call the electoral college, the result is what it's supposed to be. And as far as the Social Democratic Front is concerned, if the Social Democratic Front got even one senator, even though I know one has been appointed or was elected, in a constituency which is predominantly where most of the electoral college is the majority that belongs to the CPDM, they will say the SDF is in bed with the CPDM. Now, the SDF has lost it all because it doesn't have the electoral college that would confront the CPDM, which has some kind of a philosophy which is called party discipline. People start running helter-skelter. No. If we youths, young people, I'm not a youth, I think Tah Javis and my friend of the PAP, they are youth. If you people constitute yourself and become mayors, municipal councillors, you will elect the Senate, which I don't like, who you want to be there. But the youths of today, they spend their time drinking in bar, criticizing everything, just to go and vote, register yourself and vote. And on one Sunday, you go and vote your local people to become mayors, to become councillors. There you get the electoral college for the Senate. And you will not be asking me such question. I think for me, it is nonsense. It is something that I would not even like to debate, because the electoral college is not there. And this electoral college, even, it is full with all CPDM people. Now, what is happening? Northwest and Southwest region is a strong opposition who opposed to the hyper-centralized Jacobini system of Yaoundé. But all the councillors, they are CPDM. What happened? That is where the question is, Mr. Liu. So let's have that debate. I don't want to say 5 or 6 senators. It's not interested for me. My own personal view, if I have the means to scrap that thing that they call Senate, I will do it and increase the number of parliamentarians so that people should be represented demographically. Okay. There are constituencies in Douala here that are supposed to have about 3 or 4 parliamentarians, and they don't have it because of the population. They are supposed to, but go to the south. So these things are done to conserve power, and that's how politics. So politics is to win power and keep it for yourself, whether you like it or not. People should understand that, and that is the political education that I love. People like Javis, I love young men who nurture the courage and come and sit here, who have understood the dynamics of politics, and they are engaged in one way or the other, in a political party, in a civil society, in local organizations, and they are doing great jobs. So for me, when I sit in front of youths like this, I can only tell you guys kudos.
Okay, I can only tell them kudos. Now, Mr. Tita, were you surprised, or are you surprised with the outcome of senatorials, or everything was already played out during the municipal elections?
Really, for me, the last senatorial election for me it was just like a fiasco to me, because the CPDM really showed us that this Cameroon is having a one-party system. Because you cannot tell me that out of 70 senators that are to be elected, the CPDM grabbed all the 70 seats. And the opposition, or some of the opposition, were now expecting one of them or one of their members to be appointed by the head of state. For me, that one is an embarrassment. We are not in a one-party system. Let this issue, let us, we of the Popular Action Party, we believe in democracy. We believe in democracy. We believe in a competitive politics. We are doing, in fact, we are in the 21st century. Let's focus on competitive politics rather than one-party system. If we are talking, or if Cameroon is moving the way it is now, Mr. Leo, sincerely speaking, I am very sure, and I'm to be very honest with all of you here, and to be very honest with all the viewers, I am very sure tomorrow or 2025 election will be a complete one party. Because for me, I don't see how CPDM will be competing in the senatorial election in the Southwest alone. Only the CPDM were competing there.
Yes, but you wanted the CPDM to compete with who in the Southwest?
Good. Why were other political parties or opposition parties, they put in their candidate, but it was rejected by Elecam.
No, but the problem is now almost everybody is surprised with the outcome. When you boycott municipal elections, when you ask persons not to vote during municipal elections, and then the CPDM wins all the councils, it is an indirect election, and it is the councillors who decide who becomes the senator.
I think the problem we have in Cameroon is a problem of followership, not leadership. The foundation of what we had today was laid in 1996, if you look at the trajectory, and was further consolidated in 2020 when other opposition refused to go in for the election. I want to state it clear that 33 years after the relaunch of multi-party politics in Cameroon by President Paul Biya, Cameroonians and political stakeholders, especially opposition, are yet to understand the meaning of democracy and the meaning of good leadership. I want to give you an example. If you look at the 1996 boycott of election, you saw what played at the parliament. At the time, we had just the parliament. And if you saw how from that time, the consolidation of power started. The foundation of every democracy, it is in the hands of its legislative house. And that's why when there is a coup d'etat, or when there is when the head of state want to disarm the country, he begin by first dissolving the parliament, because the parliament, that's the foundation of democracy. Now we had that. Okay, we say, okay, we have learned the lesson. We came in 2020. We asked people to go in for registration of the legislative and the municipal election. They boycotted. Now, they didn't learn from what happened in 1996. You boycotted, knowing fully well that there is a House of Senate, knowing fully well that the system is an indirect universal sovereign. You boycotted. Now, when you boycotted, which party went in for? CPDM. So you ask a question that who should CPDM compete with? Because legitimately, you can only compete when you have the numbers, and also when you are legally represented. Now, if you look at, I'm happy what Paddy said, that If SDF had won in an area that CPDM had electorate, it would have been that they are on the bed with CPDM. It's true because they don't have the numbers. And let's come now to what the opposition party have not been able to do, voters' education. We have a problem of voters' education in Cameroon in such a way that the opposition party leaves the aspect of voters' registration into the hands of foreign NGOs like USAID, and all the rest. And these individual organizations or the international organization cannot champion your cause. Come to the reality as to what we have as far as this election was concerned. I want to tell you that the CPDM party, we are not in a one-party system. The opposition in Cameroon have made Cameroon sound like a one-party system. We are not in a one-party system. And if you ask the political parties, I'm happy with what Paddy said. There's something that he said that most Cameroonians are not looking into, and I'd raise that question. The system of electoral college, is it what we want as far as senatorial elections in Cameroon is concerned? No. The Senate is very important. There is a phrase in the Bible that when the importance of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. It's important. But do we know the importance? No. This is it. What we have as far as the electoral system is concerned, you hear political parties champion that the fact that electoral laws should be changed, but none of them are talking about the indirect universal suffrage as far as that is concerned, and that's a major problem. We should make it to be in such a way that it should be direct universal suffrage. Imagine that the people had the power to vote their senators. I won't believe we will not have been able to have all 70, but because it is the indirect universal suffrage, we had all 70. And I hear opposition parties stand and say that no, the CPDM grab everything. It is your right because you did not go in for election. You did not educate your voters when the period was necessary. You are not doing ground support to mobilize your base. Okay. What are you doing? So you give the CPDM the advantage to take over.
Paddy, are we where we are with the CPDM going in with 95 senators out of 100 because of the seats we planted by boycotting or not going to vote?
Mr. Leo, I think that when you have consolidated power after a very turbulent period like what we had in 1992 up to 1996, then you build up mechanisms that will favor you. And the Senate existed on paper until it went operational. I think that was 2013 or so. So you would understand that they will tell you that democracy is something that you build, and it is progressive. And they tell you that the Constitution of 1996 will be applied gradually. Those still things are not at variance. It is well planned. If you see, I am a militant of the Social Democratic Party, and if one day we grab power in this country, I'll be thinking how we'll consolidate power for the next 30 years, and I'll put in mechanisms in play that would let us rule for almost 30 years. And that's why you have a lot of theoreticians who are militating in the CPDM party, but some of us of the opposition, we just want positions without thinking of how to grab power and consolidate it. We have not done that work. Let me be honest. If tomorrow I am the chairman of the SDF, I will do what the chairman does. I would give myself that task. It would be my job. I would abandon everything and work for the party. Go to every nooks and cranny of this country to deliver what we call political education. Yesterday when I was driving in the bus, those who were in the bus, some people knew me. I spent about 2 hours just after those pastors who are selling all those things. I took up the floor also to sell my own agenda, my political agenda, that people should go and vote. There is power in the hands of every Cameroonian who is above 21 years old. Now, one thing they don't, the question that I was asked, if we go and vote, if we have electoral cards, if we register to vote, whom are we going to vote to? I say you vote your intimate conviction. There is no political party written on your electoral card. When the time comes and campaigns are ready, you listen keenly or you vote your conscience. If you want change, then you ask yourself, what kind of change do I want? Do I want change of musical chairs, or I want a fundamental change? That's to move from this hyper-centralized Jacobinist system to a federation, because the separation of this country is impossible. It will never happen. If Mr. Biya decrees that tomorrow Cameroon has been separated in 2 states, he's going to be killed. He would be killed, because that is high treason. That's what the Constitution says. People should know that anybody who would try that thing, that he wants to separate this country, you are a dead man. The army will take over, because you have sent their children to go and defend with their blood the integrity of this country, and out of a sudden you concede to your friends, some of whom are in the diaspora, some of whom you see them swimming with their children in swimming pools. They cannot come here, but they send other people's children to go and die. Do you think that all those people who give orders that kill, shoot at close range, cut their heads, put them on the street, if they come here, people will be clapping for them? Those who went and killed 39 children in Bui, ordered from the diaspora, when they step their foot here. So there is this country at the way it is, Mr. Dio, let me talk.
Okay.
The way it is, we should be very careful. We have to have what we call participative democracy, and every young man above the age of 21, you can be a councillor. Start militating now, so that in 2025, we of the opposition, we would have come to a common platform where the opposition grabs everything in the strongholds. Every political party has its strongholds, and we can get to those negotiations. So I think that the solution is in the hands of the youth.
Okay, the solution is in the hands of the youth. When you see five senators against 95 for the CPDM at the level of the Senate, quite regrettable, yes, unfortunate for Cameroon's opposition.
It is quite regrettable, not only for Cameroon opposition, but to the entire nation. Because, first of all, when you see that the 5 opposition that they are in the Senate, how did they get into the Senate? Were they appointed, or were they voted to be senators? That's the first question a Cameroonian should be asking himself. Because I don't believe that during vote, you cannot vote me. Then during appointment, I am appointed. Then you think that I will come and I should be loyal to the person that did not vote for me. I need to be loyal to the person that appoint me. So for me, the 5 opposition, I'm not seeing like a 5 people or 5 opposition in the Senate. I am seeing a Senate House with 100% senators of the CPDM. Not even 5 opposition. I don't even take the 5 people I don't take the 5 Senate like their opposition, because they are loyalists. You can only appoint someone who is loyal to you. So those that have been appointed are loyalists of the CPDM. They are loyal to the CPDM, not to their party or not to Cameroonians. Because you cannot tell me that out of 70 we are unable to have 1 seat, but during appointment we are able to have 5. How? So I want to tell you, my brother here is talking about voters registration. I can clearly say here or state here that the PAP is one of the parties that is doing underground work. We are mobilizing people to register themselves. We are mobilizing youth. Groundwork. We are doing groundwork. We are doing that. We have done that in Yaoundé. In fact, we are still to do that even this April in Yaoundé 6. We have done that in Yaoundé, and we are doing it presently in Limbe. In February, we started in Limbe. March, we were in Limbe. And this end of April, we will be in Bamenda. So we are doing the groundwork. And if Mr. Paddy Asanga is telling us that if they give them power, or if they give the SDF power today, I
did not say give power. I said
or if take power, if the SDF take power today,
what they are trying to do? They will be all of the PAP.
No, we are trying to take power. So we are trying to take power.
So what is the difference?
So if we take power today, you cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me that if you take power, you have their 80 years. And that is not democracy.
That is how it is.
I am a youth.
No, he's just saying his view.
I'm saying that we try to conserve power for 30 years.
Are you saying that when the Republicans take power in the US, they don't struggle to keep it for 30 years. Do they not go for elections all the time with the aim of winning? If they should win for 30 years, would they not keep it?
They go for election all the time, but there are times that when they go for opposition or for election all the time, it is not with a particular presidential candidate.
That's not what he said. He said the SDF was
we
going
cannot
to
say that we the youth. I cannot advise any youth to beware if they take power, or if they conserve power if they take power today, they will conserve it for 30 years.
I will even say that if we take power and we can conserve it for 100 years, it is legit politics.
I don't know where the problem is. It's your problem with the fact that there's going to be a president for 30 years or a SDF in power for 30 years.
No, there is going to be a president for 30 years.
Is that what I said?
But that's what we are seeing. We are seeing with the SDF.
No,
that's what we are seeing with the SDF.
No.
That's what. Listen, since the creation of SDF, who is the national chairman of SDF?
It is Nijon Frundi.
How many years has
do you know the internal rules how to become the chairman of the SDF?
How long has he been there?
Do you know the internal regulations how to become the chairman of the SDF?
Exactly the problem we have with Cameroon.
Do you know?
Everybody wanted to diabolize the other. Yes, just make.
Do you know?
Just no.
I want him to tell me.
No, please. The SDF is not our focus for tonight, please.
Even if the SDF is the focus, I'm here for you.
I am ready.
No, just make your point. We are talking about.
So as I was saying, for me, the 5 opposition that were being appointed, they are just loyalists of the CPDM. They are not they are not opposition to me. So I consider the House of Senate to be
if the
all
PAP,
of CPDM.
If a PAP, your national president, were elected, you say that appointed.
If he was appointed, he knows me very well. And we of the PAP, we could not allow that, because he cannot take a decision. Before you are being appointed, you must be consulted.
Okay. Yeah, because it's tricky to think that others are loyalists, and that it may happen that you are consulted to be appointed, and I don't know whether you are going to refuse.
There are some things I'm sure we have to be honest here. We are supposed to build a nation that meet the aspiration of the people. And if that nation that we are supposed to build, we have the mentality, like he raised, that if someone who is elected will dance to the tone of his electee, it is wrong. That's not leadership. That person elects you to do the job, not to dance to his tone. So we should build the Cameroonian mentality. Should be that Cameroonian, that leadership of responsibility, that the fact that you are appointed not to dance to the shoes of your appointee, but to dance by the constitution, to dance by the demand of the people, to dance by what is right and not what is supposed to be, by the virtue of party discipline. We saw in Kenya in 2017 where Chief Justice David Maraga was appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta, former president, to sit in for the IEBC chairman, that's the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. But this was what happened in 2017. Uhuru Kenyatta went in for his second mandate. When they went in for the election with Raila Amaro Odinga, what happened was that the election was fouled with a lot of problems. But now the chairman who was at the IEBC, who was known for his magnanimity, decided to nullify the election. That is the Supreme Court Justice, rather. The Supreme Court Chief Justice David Maraga, who appointed him, Uhuru Kenyatta. Which election did he nullify? Uhuru Kenyatta. He called for a fresh pool. So this is the politics we want in Cameroon. The politics of objectivity. The fact that, and we also saw that in Nigeria, who appointed the chairperson of the Nigeria Independent Electoral Commission when Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was defeated. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who wrote in favor of President Muhammadu Buhari, his appointee, to tell you that we should not dance by the tone of appointee, but dance by the constitution. That aside, let us come now to what is a reality. If 5 opposition senators are appointed, I want to say that they should go there and do the job and be the light of what Cameroonians expect them to do. Remember the impact of one. You have been sent to the Senate, either appointed by the President of the Republic or you have won the mandate of the people. When you are there, Be ready to work to your people, get to your people, listen to their demand, table the bills of their interests, not work according to party discipline. We saw for Invi Mukete of blessed memory, he stood for the people in the restroom. We have seen Bella Mokicha sometimes regurgitating aspect that matters of the country. We have seen others like Len Bandam, may he so rest in peace, regurgitating for the people. Wiba was who he is because he was at the parliament, not at the level of party discipline, not at the level of his party. He went against his party but stood for his people, for the people whom he considered that they were his people. So at the end of the day, it is not about who appoints. What we should scrap in politics in Cameroon is the aspect of loyalty. Loyalty, we have a lot of misleaders than leaders. What are the aspirations of the ordinary Cameroonian?
Yeah, but then you just said here that your party leader knows you so well that he may take a decision and you will not agree with it. That's what you just said.
I said we may not agree.
No, you said he knows.
He knows me very well that
I
even if they agreed, I will refuse.
Yes. So why don't you think that these guys who have been appointed may not do what you think they're going to do?
Yes.
I was never appointed to be like the PAP president of Mungo.
I don't know what he's talking about.
No. No, I'm trying to bring out something.
Yeah,
I want to let him know something,
Yes.
Mr. Paddy. The issue is I personally said I can refuse or I can reject even if everybody accepts, because I myself, I don't think me as a president or as a branch president of that party, I should accept anything. Just because.
Why don't you think that even some of these guys who have been appointed, though by the president of the republic,
And work for the interest.
may work differently than what you think?
But I'm talking with experience. I'm talking with a lot of experience.
Okay. Yes, Javis. Very, very disturbing situation for the Social Democratic Front. They moved from 14 to 7 and today won.
Yeah, the reason, as I made mention during my opener, was that they blundered from 1996. And also the Anglophone crisis. And the Anglophone crisis, the Anglophone sacrificed the SDF to bad treatment. They decided to embrace poor treatment and let go the voice that could stood for them. Because if you look at, like Paddy mentioned, the stronghold of the SDF was in the northwest and the southwest region. And if the Anglophones had stood behind the SDF as a party to represent their voice politically, there's something that we missed out, and I'm sure it is now that their eyes are opening, because if you are fighting a war in the physical front, you must have a political war too you are fighting. You must have a political voice that at least advocate on your behalf. And if Wilbur spoke at the restroom was because he was appointed, he was voted as a member of parliament. So we made an error to say SDF should not participate in election. We don't want election in this area. Imagine that we had gathered that force to say, okay, everybody in Northwest and Southwest vote this party because we want our voices ahead. While we are fighting, we believe that we need a political advocacy. This is something that a lot of those who are so-called fighting for the independence of the former British Southern Cameroon are not seeing, because in as much as you are fighting, you need to be in plain sight. And in the political realm, SDF was that party that could be in plain sight. But we sacrificed SDF. We said that we don't want election in. But do you know that the sad reality, Mr. Alo, to tell you, SDF was refused to campaign by the voices. But some political parties or the main opposition, the main party was allowed. The party that you claim is causing mayhem, political mayhem to your people, is not giving you good road, is not giving you electricity, you allow that same party to campaign. But you refuse your own opposition party that made your voice to be heard in 2016 under the SDF, because if it is not of Honorable Weber, the steam of 2016 will not have taken place. We saw in 2017 when the Social Democratic Front, I think late 2016, went to Boya. I was covering that rally. We went to Boya in Bamenda. In Boya, I saw how barrage of MPs moved from Mountain Hotel when they were blocked, moved right down to Moliko Municipal Stadium, and they had their rally and they mobilized and they told the common man the pathway is politically. And now we have sacrificed this SDF. And I bet to tell you that we will not have the voice that will represent us objectively. Who can just come to the media and make noise, but the voice that ought to have represented us was SDF. It's not too late. 2025 is coming. We have learned our lesson. Let us now mobilize. In front of us, we are seeing how it is happening. People have been appointed from the same family to replace their other people. We are not saying, we are not doing anything. We are just there making noise. It is time for our brothers in the Northwest, those in the Southwest, to go back and say, okay, we made this error. Let's now prepare for 2025. Let's now start rallying behind some of the party that we think can represent us.
Okay. Mr. Leo, good evening. Can even children of 8 come to terms with the fact that in a football match competition, one team starts off with 3 unearned points ahead of others? This in spite of the fact that the referee, linesmen, and all other match officials come from the favored team. CPDM is the ruling party, controls the electoral process from A to Z. The Dues Security Counting Commission. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo and panelists. In relation to today's topic, I want to say that if you make yourself a banana, the monkey will eat you. I agree with the saying that the foundation of any democracy is the parliament, and unfortunately we don't have any opposition in Cameroon. The opposition parties in Cameroon have made themselves stooges and liabilities that they are now being remote controlled and appointed. Scandalous. How can Cameroonians trust them, the opposition parties? The opposition made an error to have participated in these senatorial elections. They were merely validating the ruling party's intention to maintain the status quo. Good evening to you, my very good friend and brother, Hans Munono, watching from Boya Town. Good evening, Mr. Leo. God bless you and your wonderful panelists. Just to indicate that 6 opposition parties are represented in the Senate and not 5, as indicated in your debate. Melinji, writing from Upper Plateau Division. Yes, that has been corrected. Good evening, Mr. Leo. SDF has finally openly joined the government. That one, Paddy Asanga of SDF, also speaks what he thinks. SDF can never take power in Cameroon. They had that opportunity in 1992 when all of us were in the SDF. Okay? Ndivor Paul is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to every listener of my media prime. We have a general problem in Africa when we talk democracy. It is very difficult to have a say in one party system of government. It's true, we know how to talk, but at the end of the day, what will be done will be done. So I just believe that Africa can never be the Western world and vice versa. So please, Africans and Cameroonians in particular, please, let's try to develop ourselves financially and forget about politics for now. The highest tool to succeed imprisonment that politicians have succeeded to use is the fact they internationally make the youths, you want to write it intentionally, make the youths to be poor, so they will always cherish any little thing that is given to them. Peter Foza writing. Good evening, Mr. Leo and panelists. The Senate is a window dressing with no substance, and people who know and go for elections should not complain afterwards. Ngwa Richard is also writing from Bamenda. Mr. Kum Javis is not knowledgeable with the underground work in the government, and Paddy is almost not respecting the topic. Always take notice of the fact that the diaspora did not start the killing in Cameroon. Okay? Mr. John is writing from Mutengene. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. Hi, Anchorman and panelists. Thank you for the topic of today. Senatorial elections outcome 2023. I'm writing from Yaoundé. It is regrettable to be served what we have on our political table to consume today. We saw this coming years gone. We are not surprised of the monologue nature, the way some Cameroonians have decided to shape our political arena. He who has the piper, okay? Back to the much dreaded one-party system. After 60 years, we are back to square one. We will need again another 60 years to be able to sit up. Who is to blame? Is that the legacy? Oh, cried the beloved Cameroon. Paddy Asanga, this is the word of many persons. When you look at what is happening at the Senate, one may be scared that municipal and parliamentary elections may be a reflection of what we have in the Senate today, and a sure return to a one-party system in Cameroon.
Yes, Mr. Liu, talking about the Senate, what is the role of the Senate? What is the cahier de charge? What are senators elected or appointed to do? I think we have copied and pasted a form of democracy from the Western world, higher house, lower house, just because it sounds good and we want to give the impression that we are advanced in democracy. So actually, the role of the Senate is to control the bills that come from the lower house and make sure that it represents the will of the people. It is well written, and you know that in a constitution, a simple comma omitted or placed wrongly between two words changes the whole context or gives a completely different meaning. That is what the Senate. But when you look at those people who are at the Senate, a bill of 40 pages comes in front of Nyat Njifenji or Kabaye Gege Tribune. Does he have, or do they have that not only the physical strength but the mental capacity, given their age and the time that is given to them to study that bill, either endorse it or object them? I don't think the answer is in the positive. So, talking about one-party system, I don't believe that it is a one-party system, because we already have political parties. Anybody who believes that we are in a one-party system should scrap his political party and join the one party that they are talking about, because we fought so hard for people to be able to have their voices. Now, politically, some people blunder and went and created satellite parties, some of which only went to presidential elections to counter the SDF in Manu, to counter the SDF in certain areas in its strongholds. So these political parties are existing. Remember that at a time, the CPDM planted seeds of discord within the opposition, especially in the southwest region, when Oben Peter Ashu said that thing is a Bamenda Bamileke thing and there come no goes. And that rhetoric is being repeated today, even as of late within the crisis. Musongo echoed something like that. So you cannot plant seeds of discord, and people actually know.
My media prime ads did not get.
I'm responsible for what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we did not hear where he said that. Can we not focus on what we are talking about? We're talking about going back to the one-party system, and I'm looking at
I'm
the
telling
next
you about
municipal
the
elections.
seed of discord that is leading to that. This is why we are getting there. How have we gotten there? But you don't want to hear. You ask me a question, and I want to plant the decoration to tell you how we came to that position, and those who are responsible for it. It is by design. And then they want to just make it look like the CPDM is all powerful. No, it is not powerful. It is made by design to ridicule the opposition and let young people like you to come and say opposition doesn't exist, and then get into resignation, drink yourself into coma, and then sit down and be expecting change, whereas you are not participating. We have to be participative, and there is a time where people participated, but the quest for chicken change, appointment, positions have pushed us into the. You want to also understand that the electorate of the CPDM are public servants. And tell me how many public servants you have here in Cameroon know that they all are militants of the CPDM. The DOs, the SDOs, the teachers, the gendarmes, they all have the right to vote. And then we of the opposition, what do? We say no, what I will do now, I will not do now, CPDM goes to win. That is a very, very, very wrong way of looking at things. And I want to say something today. Statistically, the civil servants are just a fraction of the Cameroonian electoral demography. If we can mobilize, let's say, 6 million voters, it is finished. With the CPDM, 60 million more voters, it is finished. And we make sure that these people are politically equipped. They have what it takes and understand. Just 6 million out of maybe 30 or 27 or 25 million. That's nothing. So why don't we do that work? We keep playing the blame game. X, Y, Z, this man did this man did not do this, and so on and so forth. For now, we have a bad constitution, but that is the constitution. How do we circumnavigate ourselves through this constitution that we as a people in our vast majority don't like?
Okay,
that's it.
Good evening, Mr. Liu and other panel members. Please, there are no opposition parties in Cameroon. If the opposition parties need to come together and form one party for 2025. Thanks. Ali is writing from Betwa. Good evening to read from you, Ali. Good evening, Mr. Liu. You cannot buy the finger that fits you. Once you are appointed by someone, you will be controlled by him at some point to respect his desire. In other words, the Senate is directly 100% followers of the head of state, Akpango, writing from Muyuka. Good evening, Mr. Leo Clarkson, writing from Bamising. It's high time we just surrender the nation to the CPDM and forget about politics in Cameroon. But no, we are looking at the situation, whether we like it or not. The CPDM has an obese majority at the level of the upper house, which is the Senate, though they also have a comfortable majority at the level of the National Assembly. And for this situation to be reversed in next senatorial elections, something needs to be done at the level of the next, the coming municipal elections. How do we ensure that there is greater coloration at the level of parliament and senatorials? For the opposition, eh?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question, but I would like to go back to what my brother here said with reference to the 2018 presidential election, that some party boycotted 2020 presidential election. No, I'm talking about presidential.
Even presidential, there are parties,
some parties,
there are parties that boycotted.
Others did not even to do their campaign in the Northwest and Southwest. That's what you said.
My focus was on 2020, which cumulated to the senatorial elections that we have now.
Okay, let's take it this way. Let's take it that way. In 2020, when you talk of some of the political parties or the political opposition parties that were available at that moment did not go in or did not go into the field to do their campaign, and only the CPDM was allowed, or the so-called separatists, they allowed the CPDM to come and do their campaign in Bamenda and in the Southwest. I just laugh at you, because one thing, is it the same facility the opposition are using to go and do their campaign? No. If the CPDM is going today, even in 2018, some opposition did not go, but the CPDM went there. They went to the field. They did their campaign. Why? Because they have the power. They had their gendarmes, they had their armor car to go in or to go and vote, all those things like that. I don't think.
I just said something that I think you picked on it, but you are not articulating well, because I said the electoral, the electorate of the CPDM are civil servants, and then we know in a case of war or in a situation of insecurity, we of the SDF, we prefer to preserve life. And you understand that during the last elections, the military was there to cover campaigns for the CPDM, but we don't have power, we don't have the gun. So it was a negotiation between the CPDM party using the military to guide this thing, and then in return, the Amber boys who are having guns in the bushes got something, got their monies. We know that.
Paddy Asanga, those are things that we are saying. Those are mere speculations. There is no way to proof what they're saying. There is. Bring it.
There is no proof of what I'm saying. There is no proof of what I'm saying. Did you not hear audios circulating on Facebook where your so-called No Pity was communicating with a certain military personnel?
Okay.
How does a separatist fighter get the number of the prefect, the Dio, until he's calling the Dio and they are conversing, and the next day he's dead. What are you people saying here? They are conversations which are authentified. Please.
Paddy Asanga, you are talking about social media. Anything can happen.
But everything plays on the social media. Why are we lying?
Yeah, but the problem is the Dios are humans like you and me, which means that any other person could have their number from whosoever. Mr. Kum, your program is good, but you don't still accept some contributions that doesn't suit you. I just want to make our program to know that no reasonable Cameroonian can still go for elections under Electoral. It's of no use. Electoral belongs to the Cameroon military and CPDM. So to tell you that we are under military rule here. Yimbu Jude, writing from Bamenda. Yimbu, I've read your message now. What is bad in your message that you think I will not want to read it? Yep.
We have to shun away from this rhetoric that nothing good can come from Electoral. It was the same Electoral that the Social Democratic Front, or Noel, before had a stronger base in 1992.
Was first of all
Minak before he moved to Noel.
Noel 1, Noel 2.
And now he moved to Electoral. It was the same Electoral where the Social Democratic Front had some MPs at the same level and some other opposition party.
Even from Minat to Noel, it was a tough fight which the SDF fought.
Yeah, so it was the same. And what I'm just painting is that this same body has been able to render justice to opposition parties.
PCRN has
under the same Electoral. So we cannot. Yes, of course, we cannot totally wipe away some of these allegations, but there's a certain level that when you put pressure on the system, it is forced to bend. We cannot claim that Electoral can rig the election fully when we have not effectively participated in the election. Go and participate, defend your vote, and let's see how it stands. Now, this is what people don't understand. Municipal and local legislative elections are local elections. Are elections where it is people within the particular locality, where it's somehow very difficult to rig the election. Somehow, because it is Paddy standing against his own brother in Baba, going in head-to-head. So they have the right to monitor their election, their result, and have the same result they have. If SDF ruled the Boya Council in 1998, was under the same Noel and Minat and the rest. So why do you still think that it cannot be possible? The reason why we have this senatorial debacle, a lot of people still not to even understand, is because of indirect universal suffrage. And I'm submitting to them that our cry for electoral code should be amended. It should be amended in such a way that the senatorial vote should be direct universal suffrage, where the people have the right to cast their ballot. And I can assure you that if this had done with the direct universal suffrage, the CPDM would not have had that 70%.
Listen, Javis, you're partially correct that the electoral code should be amended. But what we have to understand is that there are dispositions within that electoral code that is supposed to be adjusted within the Constitution.
That is just one. I'm
we have to go back to a constitutional amendment that would entail and make Electoral independent.
Of course,
because who appoints
Grandpaddy, we are still saying the same thing. I'm just giving one aspect that I think should be amended. Now you are adding another aspect, which is true. I agree with that. Now I also want to submit to us here. Kenyan went to the street under Raila Odinga. That was just a few days ago. And now the president, one of the clauses they were agitating, the opposition was agitating, is that the recruitment process of the election observers, the election chairman or committee, which is known as IEBC, the Independent Electoral Boundary Commission in Kenya, should not be appointed by the president of the country. And so the opposition, Raila Odinga, went to the street, and yesterday the president addressed the nation and said it will be done on a bipartisan base, not by the president, and that the president has set up a commission that the parliament should do that bipartisan bill, that it must be approved by the opposition minority and this majority. They have to sit and vote bipartisan, and that is the kind of discussion we should have in Cameroon. If we are talking about the fact that there are a lot of things that need to be amended in the electoral code for us to have an objective election where we cannot have people at 18 years who can take over crimes and can defend the country in terms of war at the level of the military, but they cannot cast their ballot to determine who votes, who lead them. That is a problem. And so therefore opposition party, instead of fighting against themselves, party pointing fingers to PAP pointing fingers to party, they should come up as one front. Look at least the 10 urgent things that they think should be amended in the electoral code, sensitize the common man. These are the things that have been hindering our democracy, and I think that when we work on this, that you can have it. Party raised a key point. Appointment of the members of the of Elecam, also appointment of members at the Constitutional Council. If you look at these two, they have a problem. And also looking at the transmission process of a result. Where does it move from where to where it is announced? So that is where we have a problem. We have a problem. So our as I said, we have voters education problem from opposition parties. They have to start this process. They have to come together, unite as one front, and look at where they have to push the ball. If we have what we have today as senators, Mr. Liu, and you asked Paddy a question that in the senatorial election, can we still have this in the parliamentary and the local election? And I tell you, if care is not taken, we will have this. If we still move to the finger pointing. I have said this before. A lot of things have happened within this appointment of the senatorial election. I did not see opposition party even raising a key issue. One, some particular families whose parents, I will not call names, whose parents were senators, their children have been appointed to fill their shoes. That is to tell you that something is not right. And it is and so what are you opposition party doing ahead of 2025? I want to see that voters education. I want to see that important. Briefly, Paddy, somebody said that we should not focus on politics, we should focus on developing the country. It's wrong. A road should be constructed, it takes a political decision. For you to have electricity, it takes a political decision. For you to set up a business, it takes a political decision. All those who are saying that we are not going to politics in Cameroon, you are doing business, my dear brothers and sisters, it takes a political decision for you to succeed and not. If our mothers are crying at the CMPS to stand under the sun, it is a political decision.
Okay. The minimum wage.
Hello,
yes. Also an issue.
Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening, and all the wonderful cream of panelists. Your program is very educative. Esther, good evening to you from Kumba. Good evening to you. Special greetings to you all in the studio. Dr. Esther, writing from Kumba. Good evening to you too. I disagree when Paddy says if electoral code is not changed, the votes of the youth will never count. Let's be factual here. Mr. Liu, CBDM is the match delegate and the referee at the same time as far as elections is concerned. Boro is writing from Fundong. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panel in the studio. One thing we should all know is that without the people, there is no political party. But the people exist without the political parties. As for the SDF, let them join CPDM at once because the people... Okay, good evening to you, people in the studio. I want to say that the CPDM will always win in all elections in this country. This is because the opposition party are not serious. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Bashiru is writing from Way, just to indicate that we are watching from Way. Bashiru, extend my greetings to everybody who is watching us from Way. I don't know whether it's at the three corners, whether they are watching us from Kala Kala or they are watching us from Kefum, or wherever they are watching. Yes, wherever they are watching us from Way Village. Special greetings to all of you. Good evening to you all in the studio. Question, Javis, when Honorable Wiba talked in the Parliament, the same SDF that you are saying Anglophones should trust to fight for them, instead suspended Wiba. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. There is no way that the president can appoint someone and the person will not be loyal to the president. The appointment gives room for renewal. Oben Wilson Tabiojong, writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Leo Clarkson from Bermising. It's high time we just surrender the nation to the CPDM. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Pastor Mukiawa Daniel Anyam. The appointment of 5 senators against 95 is a mockery to the opposition and they deserve it. The mistake the opposition has made was to boycott elections. They came to us, gave us much hope, and when we follow them, They abandoned us at the deep sea. The position is a disgrace. Okay, good evening to the panel. The SDF will bounce back any moment after the convention. My choice for the next chairman is Paddy Asanga. After the CPDM, SDF is the second party. I'm appealing for other parties to join the SDF before 2025. Funyam Christopher is writing from Jombe. Mr. Liu, democracy is a process. Those 5 elected opposition senators can carve a new face for Cameroon and Africa. For those of us who read English history, in those days, democracy took a new look in England. One of the members of the parliament challenged King George in parliament by name George White. He made the king to know that he was not God's representative on earth. Okay? So many persons are writing, but the core is that persons are afraid, like you raised, that we may still waste energies come 2025, and then the CPDM will still have a comfortable majority. Yet, there seem not to be any efforts for fences to be made amongst the opposition parties. Yeah. You keep fighting one another more than the CPDM itself.
Leo, this question is very dear to my heart.
Okay.
You can talk about one-party system in the Northwest and Southwest region, but in the other 8 regions, people are actively working to be part of that opposition that will challenge. The Northwest and Southwest region is not there. So if we are not careful, in other regions, you have certain parties that will come out with candidates and will get into council, municipal council, and have even electoral college for senatorial elections. But what have we done? We have surrendered the Northwest and Southwest regions to Mr. Biya, who wins in the far north in certain locality. Why is Bello Buba winning and you have all those Dakole, Daisala, their political parties in other places? But in the Northwest and Southwest region, anybody of the opposition, killer, CPDM, the match fire, they go, they climb the hill. That's the situation we will find ourselves. Let's be honest, because I don't believe that the scenario that we have in the Northwest and Southwest region would apply here. The last electoral elections, it's an indicator. The SDF would bounce back in the Francophone zones. But in the Northwest and Southwest region, kill SDF, who killed the chairman. SDF don't die. SDF don't die. What is existing? What is the alternative?
PAP.
The alternative in PAP, where? Name me your regional president in the Northwest region, please.
My regional president in the Northwest region is Tita Inuhu.
Where does he live?
He lives in Bambili.
In Bambili?
Yes.
Yes, and he is on the field campaigning.
He is there campaigning for the university students.
He's campaigning for the university students?
Yes, because
okay,
he is still a student.
Yes,
he is still a student.
I understand. It is okay. So I wish him all the best. What notwithstanding, when you get to some places like Nyongekele and let's say Douala 5, you get to Yaoundé 6 and so on. There is competition there. But in the Northwest and Southwest region, people don't even talk politics. People are afraid to talk politics because if you talk politics, they will come and pick you up, then go and cut your neck and put on the street. So for now, I think that the people of the Northwest and Southwest region should re-strategize, because in that idea that it is a unique or a monocolor house is not going to repeat itself. I'm convinced if the electoral college is there, made of opposition, they will come together. If you have municipal councillors in Douala 5, for example, and then you have CPDM, also municipal councillors, and those of the opposition are in a majority, who would become the senator for Douala 5? Just as an example, who? Logically, is that the opposition? That's it. It is a very simple political arithmetic for beginners. But we refuse, and then we say, the CPDM have taken over, we have gotten back. How did we get there? That is the question. How did we get there? Whereas in a peaceful environment. It would not happen in the northwest and southwest region. Even in now that people have gotten political awareness that Mr. Biya's hyper-Jacobini system has failed, you would see a multicolor parliament coming next election in the 10 other regions. But in the northwest and southwest region, I can predict you, if we don't stop that madness, we'll have our eyes to cry. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Given that many persons are very concerned and want the opposition, they also feel that without a united front, the opposition will just be talking like we are talking today, and the CPDM will keep winning.
I think what the population...
How open is the PAP?
No, the PAP for now, I can say PAP is the only opposition party in Cameroon that has already started the process of coaliting with other opposition party.
Okay.
We have the MPSC of Abubakar Siddiq. We have the CMC of Honorable Tata. So we have already started the process of coalition. So if others see into it, or if others deem it necessary to join the PAP in that move, I think we are going to dethrone the ruling CPDM. 2025 is not far. Who are those to vote? The youth that are afraid of politics. It is really embarrassing getting from a youth that the youth need to just allow politics, or they should abandon politics and focus in business. What type of business are you doing without politics? You will still go and you will do the business, but at the tail end, the politicians are still the one to pass law on how much you are going to pay like tax. So for me, I think what the youth should be doing now, they should be thinking on how to change the system or to change the political atmosphere of Cameroon. We should not just sit and be waiting for Jesus Christ to come and change Cameroon. Jesus Christ is not going to change Cameroon. The youth are the one to change Cameroon, and that's what the PAP is doing. I can clearly state here that PAP is the only political party that their government is made up of youth. I think the highest person, the most aging person in that party is 52 as of now. So I think other political parties should follow what the PAP is already doing. They should go. They should go to the field. Let them encourage the youth. They should talk with them, register them massively on the electoral, on the voters. Give them voters card, register them like the way the PAP is doing, and let's focus, coalesce, and form something that in 2025 we will be able to dethrone the ruling party. But if not, if that is not done, I don't think the opposition are going to do something in this country from what we have today, because this is just the beginning of one party system, as I said. And those that will not be able, or they are not ready to coalesce with the PAP, I think they are part of the regime. I clearly state that they are part of the regime if they don't want to coalesce. Because if you are an opposition, you should be ready to coalesce.
Who is the founder of the PAP, please?
Is Dr. Ewane,
the founder of PAP?
It is not. You are talking about Justice Ayapol. It is he. He was not the
who is the founder.
It is Professor Ewane.
Okay, so it is Professor Ewane who founded the PAP.
Yes,
and you have retired CPDM members in your PAP, people who did everything so that the opposition should not work. So when you send some of you,
let me elaborate on what you want to say.
No. You've landed already. You have landed already. Yeah, but I think that should you not just say that you should work together than giving
if they don't come to you.
Yeah. Because I'm sure Maurice Kamto will tell you that they have been struggling to get the opposition together. Other parties also will tell you that they have struggled. Even the SDF will tell you that some years back they have struggled. Why don't you think that everybody should come together and than giving lessons that
is why I said we are open.
Okay.
Open for what?
We are open for
coalition.
The sea should come to the river.
No. Paddy, that is also what is killing. No, Paddy, this is also what is killing coalition.
You listen to this condescending. When I ask him a simple question, he starts panicking.
No, I am not
panicking. Paddy. Okay. Now. There is a problem we are where we are also because of very disturbing voter apathy, especially among the youth. He is also regretting the fact that almost every young person, but he also raised it at the beginning of the program, that many young people are embarrassed now, criticizing everything, not knowing that they can decide to turn the tide. How do we get the young people to know that the power actually is in their hands and they have refused to change things?
It is a very important question you're asking, and I'll start by telling you what happened within the week. Just 2 days ago, there was a fatal accident along the Boyati-Kodwala road, and 5 people were killed, most of them youth, and the reason because of the nature of the road. If you have gone to that Boya-Douala road, you will understand what I mean, especially when you live in two gates. And now, this is it. The young persons constantly complain about that road, and they say they are not going into politics. And what will it take to save the lives of people flying that road? A political decision. We have left it. The reason that why we have what you have articulated, the question why you have asked, is because of the fact that I started by saying that opposition party don't do voters education. You only see them 18 months to the polls. They come and start galvanizing. And because of the fact that if you don't give the youth alternative, they will not come by. I'm saying this and I keep saying, our opposition party leaves the aspect of voters education into the hands of foreign NGOs, which is not supposed to be. The foreign NGOs don't have the interest or the political ideology of your party. And I'm saying this, that every political party, every opposition party in Cameroon need to know that their number one focus is not to unseat a fellow opposition party, but is to galvanize a force that can actually give the parliament a multicolored dimension that we need. Party puts it clearly that in the next electoral calendar, you'll be shocked to see that the parliament will be multicolored from 8 regions and 1 color from the northwest and southwest region, which is very clear. You see, go to the north, you have different political parties that are making their waves. Go to the east, the same. But when you come to the northwest and southwest, they are talking about to survive, not to vote. And they are saying that leave CPDM, they don't always win, which is not the case.
Yeah, and it is very common to hear people say that we have been voting and nothing is changing. But they have actually asked them for whether they have voted for the past 20 years.
I can assure you that if you take a microphone to the street and ask somebody between the age of 29 to 40 how many times he has voted, they will not tell you.
Yeah, but they are champions
before asking them that question, just ask them the first question, what do you think about election? We will vote, our vote will not count. They ask the next question and you see, you'll be quiet. How many times have you voted? I've never voted. In 10, 9 or 8 will tell you. That's the problem. Now this is, and we are responsible because we have some people who come on TV who are supposed to be ambassadors and they tell you that nothing will change. Yes. And these same people who come on TV and tell you nothing will change and expect change. And I ask them, what miracle? They have political party. They say nothing will change. Mr. Leo, this is something, and I like using clear example. I repeat to those who miss my intro. In 2017, President Uhuru Kenyatta was seeking his second mandate. He appointed the president of their Electoral Commission. And now, also the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice David Maraga, was appointed by Uhuru Kenyatta. By default, if we go by the Cameroonian mentality, Chief Justice David Maraga was supposed to play to the tone of his appointee Uhuru Kenyatta. But when they went in for that election, they brought the matter to the level of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court sitting in as the election tribunal under Chief Justice David Maraga ruled against Uhuru Kenyatta, who appointed him, and stated that the election was marred with flaws and thus there should be a fresh push and ordered that it should be nullified. And that was historic in Africa. Now, another example is Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in 2015. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan appointed the chairperson of the Independent National Election Commission, the INEC. Now, when they went for the election, INEC, chairperson who was supposed to act in favor of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, ruled against him. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and ruled in favor of President Muhammadu Buhari, who was not an incumbent. This is where an incumbent was defeated, announced by, and you keep telling me that who appoints. Yes, Mr. Bia appoints. Yes, there's a certain level, but don't be shocked that your pressure can make that person to heal. And remember, circumstances are different. Maybe in those times that Cameroon was operating, there was no pressure. Today we have international organizations. Today we have social media. Today we have the Twitter. Everywhere results are flying head scattered. Today we have NGOs. Today we have US government. As we speak, the US government is on the process to blacklist some Nigerians who undermine the they just ended 25th February pool. They're working to blacklist these people, to give them visa ban. And that's to tell you that today politics has changed. I am saying that, look at the last presidential election. The PAP man will agree with me. How many persons voted the CPDM? About 3 million. How many persons in total went to the pool? About 6 million. Let's take these few statistics. The 3 million that voted. How many of them are within the working class? How many of them are the families of those who actually go to vote? I will tell you all certainty, without any fear of contradiction, and that the President Paul Biya, since after 1992, has won election in this country genuinely. Since after 1992, because of the fact that we decided not to go in effectively for voting. And 2025 is coming, dear friends, dear brothers and sisters. Our situation is deplorable. Our roads are deplorable. The situation of those in the northwest, southwest, the northern part of the country are also deplorable. And yet we sit at the comfort of our house and say nothing can change. And I'm asking you, before you are seeing dynasty is existing. Before you, look at the last senatorial appointment. The last senatorial appointment, people were replaced by their same family. And let me tell you, what will happen at the presidential? If you don't come together, join the political party, get your voice heard, put pressure. If we can have that 10 million active participation, it's difficult to steal election when you have numbers. It's easy to steal election when you don't have the numbers. It's easy. But when you have the numbers, it's difficult. And don't say that the chairperson is there, he will change it. When you put the pressure, you have US, you have British, you have other organizations that will put pressure and tell you that, hey, social media has come to expose. Go to your own situation room, from your own situation room, do the result real time, and I'll tell you, you may not be able to get the bigger fish, but you get a fish that will hold the bigger fish at the balls, and that is the parliament. If you can be able to elect your officials at the level of the local, their parliamentarian, your mayors, your municipal councillors, you start by that. We had a hope in 2020 when the fire of democracy was booming, but a particular party quenched it down because they said they are not going to election, and that's why we have what we have today as the senatorial result. Don't blame the CPDM for having 70 seats at the senatorial election, because our opposition failed and has failed woefully. It is a time for us to start now, and 2025 is not far. If you cannot stand, some of us in 2024 will stand.
Okay, let's see what can the opposition do today, because whether we like it or not, resources, human, financially, is going to be very difficult to stand the force of the CPDM. If we have to change the situation like they are today at the Senate level, what do you think the opposition can do?
Mr. Leo, the opposition should have a plan A, plan B, plan C, and an exit strategy. And what does it take to have a plan A? It is to start now. Every opposition party should be seen on the field, mobilizing the youths to get their voters card. We should, because some people would want to commercialize. Oh, it is only our party. No, I think that everybody, for us to succeed, irrespective of our political ideologies, we should be on the field now, telling the youths where the stakes are, especially those youths you meet in the bars, on the streets. You talk to them everywhere you sit, even within your own family. If somebody is of voter's age, when that person sits behind you and he wants to sip a drink, you say, Pa, I need to give me, I would like to teach people to catch fish. I don't want to give them fish. So, me, I no give you drink today. When he asks you why, he say, because you can become a municipal councillor. Why is it that you cannot register yourself to vote? When the times come where there are co-opting people to be municipal councillors, you compose your document and start as your engagement as a militant in a political party of your choice. That should be plan B. Plan C, our campaign rhetoric as opposition. Change. What type of change do we want? Do we want to change musical chairs, or we want real change? And we cannot have change when we are talking of musical chairs. Those big guns and those who have tested the system, they want to inherit it, because it is a system where it is a system of revenge. It's a system based on corruption. It's a system based on nepotism and all that stuff. But real change is to move constitutionally from what we have now to a federation, whether we like it or not. Many parties have endorsed that idea of a federation. For now, let's not debate the content, but let all of us, as opposition parties, young or old, endorse that rhetoric, sell it to the people, tell them what it takes and the advantages. Not only say we want federalism, no. Those who are on the field, those who are going to television station, they should be able to give a minimum content of what federation is, that turns down and kills the rhetoric that they say, as the head of state has said. When you see those guys here who are driving, just here at this Carrefour, where my major prime, do you think they are concerned by what we are talking here? They're not. They say, unnatural souffle. He rides his Benzikin. If his goals are different from your own goal. All of you sitting here, I'm young, I'm older than most of you. So I think that you belong to that elite and that political class that should be telling you, come and join us. It is our time. It is our time. It is really your time. Because when you look at the political coloration of some of this party, they are all aging. And I'm very happy that the all-powerful chairman of the SDF has cleared the space for you to come in. Because each time, the chairman of the SDF is so emblematic that if you go to any election with him within the SDF, you fail. Now there will be competition within the SDF. Most of the time, it is because people have that charisma that intimidates. But now the road is open, and for those of you, Javis and all the rest, Leo Kum, I'll invite you to the SDF convention, and then we'll sit down and have a conversation, so that coming out of the convention, you will know exactly where the stakes are. Because I personally have a lot of respect for the chairman, and I've been one of those persons who have criticized him the most. But he is the chairman, and I'm bound to submit. That's what people don't know. But I don't say it in public. I fight the chairman every day off camera. And that is what I like about his personality. When you sit with the chairman, I don't go and meet the chairman and kind of start talking about the chairman in public. No. When I sit with him, sometimes I convince him, and sometimes he convinces me. So that is how it is supposed to be. Now the air is clear. All those who think that the chairman was so emblematic, come down. Within the space, there is level playing ground for everybody. Who tells you that Paddy doesn't want to be the next chairman of the SDF? And what is the ideologies of Paddy? Focusing on the youths, taking them where they are supposed to be. And if I myself, in my age, in a few months I'll be 50, I see a vibrant, go ahead. We are just there to guide you. Because when Ahijo and Paul Biya took over this country, they were not more intelligent than Paddy at the same age. They were products of colonization. But I am a product of Kwifon African culture, where we belong. We can even forge our own democracy. Why not?
Okay, we
Thank
can
you.
forge our own democracy. How do we prepare for our future Senate that would reflect the aspiration and expectations of Cameroonians? How do we get these guys who don't believe in the system yet want change to know that they can still have the type of senators they want if they decide to?
Well, the first advice the first thing I will say here is that we need to let the youth understand why or the works of the Senate. And secondly, I don't want a situation in 2025. A situation of what happened in Nigeria should happen in Cameroon, where everybody will be shouting this person, but those youth shouting that this party don't have their voters cards. You can only go to the Senate through your municipal councillors or your regional councillors. If you don't have your voters card, how are you going there? Or how will you be a councillor without your voters card? So the first thing the youth should think, or if they are thinking of changing the political atmosphere of Cameroon, they should start by registering themselves into the electoral list. Because it is only through their voters card that the situation can be changed. If we are waiting for someone to leave the diaspora to come and change Cameroon, or Jesus Christ to come and change Cameroon, then we lie. Let the youth wake up. They are sleeping. They should wake up from their slumber. They should register massively, go out and vote. When they vote, we are going to have the councillors, and from the councillors we are going to have parliamentarians, and from the parliamentarians we are going to have senators, or from councillors we are going to have senators. The senators, councillors are the one voting for senators, not waiting for appointment. So the youth should try. They should visit Elecam, the nearby Elecam of their community or of their area, and get themselves registered. In that way, we are going to change the next senatorial election of this country.
Yes, does it not start with the ambitions that is being presented to these people themselves by the political platforms? If you say PAP says we want to get at least 30 senators at the next elections, and then maybe the SDF says we want to get at least 40, NUDP says we want to, that is, you set your ambitions in front of your militants and sympathizers and tell them that we can only get this mathematically. This is how it can be done. Is that not also that education that is lacking? Yeah,
it's the education that's lacking massively, because if you look at what we have, you ask when this party go around, they don't tell you the ambition, they don't tell you the objective, what they seek. They just say vote for us, we shall bring changes, and you ask yourself, what changes are you coming into? Now there are key things that Cameroonians and anybody need in a country. For example, what they will eat, the water they will drink, the road they will use, and tell them how you get that done, not in the space. Don't just come and blow big grammar. Tell them how you intend to achieve that realistically. Don't just tell them that if I get there in the next 2 days I'll make the magic. No, of course you cannot. We need voters education. Tell the voters that if somebody comes and tell you that I can do this, this is the process, so that the person is aware that even if you leave, somebody comes, they will know that that person is lying. But they don't know when the person is lying. For example, a member of parliament will go for campaign in a constituency and tell them that if you vote for me, I'm going to construct roads, I'm going to build a bridge in this village, I'm going to construct schools. You ask yourself the question, what is the standard procedure, operating procedure of an MP? Is it to construct roads? Is it to construct schools? Is it to do this? Of course, no! It is not. That's the education the common man need. So that when you are coming as an MP to campaign, they tell you, no, you are there to legislate. You are there to create laws that will enable construction to happen here. You are there to create laws that will enable us to do our business. You are there to create laws that will enable us the minority to be protected. You are there to create laws that will reduce taxes so that we can do our business. That is what you are supposed to do. But you hear these MPs campaigning on construction of roads and that. So they need, the common man need the voters' education. Come now to the level of the senators. You go to I listened to the campaign of senators. I was shocked. The senators are campaigning as though they are running for municipal election like they are councillors. What does the role of a councillor? So this education is not given to the people. So the people don't know which party can, whether they are lying or they are not lying. So they are supposed to put the people on check. Dear people, this is how it functions. I'm happy Fabrice Dena painted something last time about the number of constituencies we have, the number of voting units that we have, the number of elections that we have. These are the things that the people are supposed to be aware. The opposition party, for example, need to tell us, if you ask this party how many polling units do we have in Cameroon as it stands now, they will not tell you. How many collection centers do we have? They will not tell you. What are the procedures? The common man need to know this, that okay, if I go to vote, how do I protect my vote? I know that okay, if I go to vote, the normal one they know is stand there, count it, and ensure that it's counted and go. Okay, what next? Who signs a procès verbal? How does the procès verbal move there? Those are the education that the common man need. But they don't have this education.
But the common man, should they not also understand that 20 years ago, the way elections were conducted is strictly different from what is happening today? Because once the counting is done, from the social media, everything is. We can clearly state that this person is.
That's why we are saying, if you saw what happened in Nigeria this election, the different parties had their own what called their hot room, their tallying room, and their situation room, and all of them, they were doing it online. As you post your polling unit, as you snap the sign, when they sign, you snap it. When they sign at the polling agent sign, you people should snap it there. While the polling agent takes it away, you publish it, and the team put in their database, so that if you go and change the figure, because the only thing you need to do is to go and change, mark right there, he changed the figure, because you cannot change the form. So that was what was used, and he talked about the fact that that what happened in Nigeria, young people were just shouting, but they did not get their voters card. They got their voters card. Nigeria Election Commission stated that 11 million additional voters were added on the electoral list. That has never happened before in Nigerian election. And if you look at that, was because of the wave that the young people came and understood. Look at the level of which influencers are doing in Nigerian election. But in Cameroon, our influencers don't understand that whatever they do, it takes a political will. And because they have not had that education, I'm telling you, we are crying mobile money tax here. Go and ask any young Cameroonian, they'll tell you about the difficulties they have in terms of mobile money, in terms of ID card issue. It's the #1 issue. Now, how many of them have actually gotten to their member of parliament and said, dear member of parliament, we have ID card crisis, we have this ID card issue, what is happening? These parties need to educate us. Even the opposition parties need now to take this top major issue. We have 3 main issues in Cameroon. Identity card issue, which is the #1 priority of Cameroonians. The next one, which is a priority of Cameroonians, is the CMPS. I pity my mothers and fathers who go under the Scottish sun, who have worked their life for this nation, and are unable to collect their allowances because of the system put in place. That's the second. Okay. If you cannot respect the state elderly persons, it means your nation cannot go. The third, finally, which is the level now of our mobile money, our digital system. A lot of digital laws have not been put in place. And you go online, you see insult, people are being insulted, slandered everywhere. Laws are supposed to put in place to check this.
Okay. Mr. John Fung, watching from Bamenda, says, following the program from Bamenda, a very interesting topic. Thanks a bunch, Paddy. Take it or leave it. In democracy, the name of the game is number. And the number here is register, vote, and protect or defend the vote. Courage. Guys, thank you to you too, Mr. John Fung, who is watching us from Bamenda, working at the regional hospital out there, and a key actor for the just ended Unity conference that took place in Wom, Arem, some weeks back. We hope that all went well. We hosted you guys here with some other persons like Ndu Marie Goretti and Divine, who came in from Yaoundé to clear the air and also tell what the people of Wom were planning with respect to their living together as a community. Now we have just some 10 minutes more to discuss. were you surprised with the re-election of the Senate President and with his reappointment? Do you think something is going to change?
I don't think anything is going to change because what was done, I don't even know if every year we keep on changing the constitution of this nation, because he was re-elected when he was never elected. He was elected the president of the Senate when the election that took place. I did not see his name on one of those that were being elected. He was rather appointed after he was being made the president of the Senate. So for me, I don't know if the constitution, we keep changing it every day, or it was changed without our knowledge. So maybe my brother of the CPDM can clearly.
There is nobody here of this.
Okay, my brother Javis.
This is this rhetoric that comes.
No,
that not this in the political scene that imitates.
My brother Javis can really explain
please
to
try
us
to
what
be,
is happening.
You see, some of you before they send you on media, try to find out the panelists and no. It's a disgrace.
I'm not used to sometimes when you don't share views that are of opposing, they call you a CPDM person. But anyway, he has apologized for that. Before I just briefly give my own take, I want to a friend of mine just messaged me that is watching the program, which is Bacham Fobang. Today he's celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday to you, Bacham Fobang. May the good God continue to guide you, bank manager par excellence. Now on the topic, Mr. Liu, I was not surprised. But another issue is he's raising something that's very important. That is the process. In Cameroon, we don't look at the process. The process in which Nyat was elected is controversial, and it also makes people to feel like it may be legitimately correct, but it process in it. For example, the legitimacy is there, but it gives doubt on the common man, the belief of the common man that we actually have the separation of power. For example, his name had not been announced, but he went in for the election in the House and for the position of the Senate.
Is this not? This is also an ignorance and a misinformation to the public, please.
No, because, I'm not saying that it is constitutionally wrong.
No, let me come. It is a misinformation that we are giving out to the people. There was a session that was holding. MPs were in session. Senate was also in session. The outgoing senators are still in office until these guys were elected. The guys that were elected were not the ones who voted him. They are the outgoing. Now when Senate is going to hold, when they hold their first session, that is when another election is going to hold. Those that voted for him.
Okay, have that. Thank you for that correction.
Yeah.
If we look at the process in which this was done, it tells us that I said we are in a dynasty. We are moving to a dynasty. And that Cameroonians need to stand up and constitutionally make their voices heard. Because we only cry and cry and cry, and we gave this legitimacy because we avoided going in for municipal elections that we ought to. We avoided. And now the situation is coming. In under 18 months, we'll have election in this country. In under 18 months, not far from now. We're counting just within, not even up to 18 months, not it will be 17 months. How much prepared are we when we look at the electoral calendar? I was not surprised that Kabayege Jibri was elected because they have the obvious majority, and you know it's always party discipline. They always vote according to party line. So what we should do is that the opposition party who are there should be at least able to change one or two things they can do. They should not focus only on the aspect that they don't have the numbers. If you look at Mr. Roland Kwemen, former president of Juniors Chamber International, wrote a book titled The Impact of One. In that his book, Roland Kwemen actually articulated that one person has the ability to transform the minds and heart of the entire country. And people see that that is impossible in Cameroon. It is possible. Because when you present the people with objectivity, with fairness, they will follow you. What we have as politicians, for example, people say their hands are tied. When it comes to embezzle money, Paddy, their hands are not tied. When it comes to take money which are illegal, their hands are not tied. But when it comes to provide electricity, President Biya did not stop you from providing electricity to your people. These people, each constituency have money that are meant for development of their constituency. When this money has been disbursed to you, they don't tell you, but they will come and tell you that, President, our hands are tied. Their hands are not tied. Hold them accountable, because when it comes to embezzling money, their hands are not tied. Project for electricity, project for road, project for construction of markets, their hands are not tied. Year in, year out, these budgets are being voted and given to these constituencies, but they don't do something concrete with the money.
Okay, they don't do something concrete with the money. Paddy Asanga, the SDF is going to have just one senator this time around. Of what use? Some persons are asking. Can he make the difference? You are representative of the Senate.
You see, there is always that lone voice in the forest that articulates. Personally, I think that the Senate is obsolete, and appointments and acceptance to appointments are sacred. The SDF leadership has maybe endorsed, maybe not, I don't know. There are certain questions that I will take time to talk to the party leadership to understand, not to contradict. Until I get to the leadership, then I want other people to challenge me or contradict me. But for now, whatever decision the party leadership...
We saw a communique that has been making rounds on social media where apparently the party says they are going to be communicating officially on that decision.
That's what the party has said. That's what the party has said, and that is what is supposed to be done. So there is an executive committee within the SDF that is active. That's the NEC. So when they will sit and come out, I'm not part of it. I'm a foot soldier of the SDF that is aspiring to be one day the chairman of the SDF. So I'm doing my job on the ground. That's why you see me on the field, at all fronts. That's my job. Now, whatever decision they take, I will stand by them because that's my party. I don't flirt with the wind. If there is one man who's going to stand for the SDF, it's me. Don't forget that. In my family compound, we have the first Secretary General, who is also one of those brains behind the SDF. When I was going to our family archives, I saw some skits of how this party was constituted, minutes of certain meetings that were held in Bamenda and so on and so forth. We have those things. So why should I be contradicting myself? If the SDF falls, it's my failure. If the SDF stands, it's my success. So that is who I am. And I think that to conclude what we have been debating here today, I want to make sure that we of the opposition, irrespective of our party standing, I'm saying this and I'm being humbled, we should come out and first of all make sure that in the northwest and southwest region, if we want to get senators who would represent the interests of the opposition and not the interests of the CPDM, which is the ruling party, let's go back on the ground and invest youths as municipal councillors, mayors, create the electoral college that we want to see in the Senate if we want the Senate. But personally, I don't think the Senate should be, I think the Senate should be scrapped. If the majority says the Senate should exist, so it be. I am not that type of a player who is afraid of, I'm going for a win. But if defeat comes, I accept it. Because I've played by the rules. Let's be fair. And this is the mentality that people, most of you youth, should spread to the other people. I've played games and failed. I've won many of my fights. Most of them, I've won them. And one of the challenges were those clowns who told me that I could not go to my native village, Baba, who born dog. In my own village. You say it in the diaspora and tell me that, Paddy, go for your village, Marcy. Go to for your own village, Marcy. Nonsense. Rubbish. Foolishness. I'm back.
Okay, you're back.
And you went to your village?
Sure.
And you came back.
Yes, we saw you in Bamenda, and we also got images from Baba, where you went to. Yes, what are the clear ambitions of the PAP? It's true you are open for collaboration with other parties, and you intend to take power 2025 and also get as many MPs and municipal councillors as possible?
Well, the first ambition of the PAP is not even to it is to form an opposition, a stronghold opposition that will be able to take power. And then secondly, the youth, or us, the youth should be able to go in for municipal councillors, parliamentarians, mayors, and all the rest. As my co-panelist, Mr. Paddy Asanga, said, if we want to take power, we need to start from taking our municipalities. When we take our municipality, the PAP is there to regain or to take back their municipalities. So through that, we are very sure in the next senatorial election, we are going to have enough senators if it will be maintained. Because us, we, the PAP, we are not seeing that to maintain during our own mandate in this country. Thank you.
Okay. The press also has a job to do, eh?
Yes, the press has a job to do. The political parties also need to help the press to do its job. You find it difficult to have members of political stakeholders to come to programs and air their views, as we see in other countries where political parties are the ones rushing behind the press to get their voices heard. So we are talking about 18 months to the next election calendar, and the question now is, what are the political parties doing to get the press engaged in their activities? And this is something that is worrying. And when it comes to investing in other issues, this party invests in other issues, but when it comes to the press, you see they sometimes don't pay much emphasis about the press. So the press too also has a lot to do. We have been there. My Media Prime has been there to do his job on his regular political talk show programs as far as that is concerned, and we can assure the public that the press will always be there. But the political parties, the SDF, the Social Democratic Front, the PAP, and all the other political parties need to actively be engaged in terms of providing panelists for political discussion. If you see one of the parties that is very active in this is the CPDM party, and that's why you see, when I see their landslides, people will tell you that we are in a one-party system. The CPDM party does not fail to send representative in political debate, but when it comes to other opposition party, you invite them, they will tell you, we don't have somebody that will come, and we done this. So it is a problem. So if these parties can know that the journey for 2025 starts now, with inundating political press organs, share your voices, get your voices heard. Paddy, in Germany, you see what happened with the press in Germany. Political parties get to the stage, they debate issues, but when it comes to Cameroon, the sad thing is, you call you go get to party secretary, they will tell you, this person is busy, sorry, we cannot make it. And this is what is killing our democracy. The press has to be actively involved, and I'm happy with the fact that we are in a liberalized system with the launch of the communication law in 1990 that has given room for press freedom and freedom of the press, though it comes with responsibility. Let us also note that freedom of the press or freedom of speech comes with responsibility. There's a responsibility that's accorded to that freedom of speech, and also we call on authorities that be to also ensure that that is also respected. All in all, Mr. Kumi, was a good discussion, and those who disagree with us, don't just sit and disagree with us. Come to the TV, get your own voices heard, solicit to be a partner. You don't pay to represent your voice. You don't negotiate. It's free. Rather than saying that this person is not saying the same thing, we have professors, doctors who are there in universities, scholars who are not able to come and attend a single political debate, and they say that until the lion produces its own historian, the story of the hunt will be told to glorify the hunter. That's why you see those who are taking decisions in leadership position are not professors, whereas professors are in class giving good lessons on leadership. When it comes to politics, they shy away from politics, and that's why they say a lecturer of mine once said, when it ended his report, that the lunatic are few but they own the place.
We want to thank you for coming, and all of you for watching. Thank you, Paddy, for coming today.
Yes, Mr. Liu, I'm honored. I keep saying that my Media Prime is like a child to me that is very close to my heart. I know you people are a young media, and the steps that you have taken so far has a lot of impact on the ground. When I went down to Bamenda, I was surprised that even though I was not wearing my native traditional regalia, with the quality of your sound, I could be able, people could identify me from my voice and my choice of words. And even in the bus, they said, that is Mr. Jacobine. Even though I was not dressed the way I used to. I said, where do you know Mr. Jacobine? My Major Prime. You know the party where you live for Germany. So I think that my Major Prime too has contributed a lot, and political parties should see how we can, especially those who are aspiring to have municipal councillors, should work together with my Major Prime, because I think my Major Prime is also one of those voices that can lead us to change, because they are in every nooks and crannies of this country. I will not also forget to glorify one of our own who is in the United States. That is exactly what I expect of our diaspora. That's transporting expertise. I want to talk about Professor Mbarika and the ICT University. Instead of learning how to build bullets and send through Nigeria and smuggling them, to copy the technology, ICT technologies of American standards, and then sign MOUs with local universities so that our children would learn. You don't necessarily need to pay huge sums of money to go to private universities in America, whereas there is the know-how that can be gotten back home for within for a cost that is within our reach. So
okay,
thank you.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Tita.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the entire crew of My Media Prime. I would really like to end this debate by trying to advise the youth. Let's try to register ourselves in the electoral list and try to go out and perform our democratic right. And then I would also like to give a special greetings to Mr. Fabrice Lena, the Secretary General of the Popular Action, who is doing a lot of work. He is presently now in Germany doing some work for the party and all the rest. I would like all the youth to really follow his footsteps, because he is someone that every youth in this country should at least copy from him.
Okay, we also want to thank you all for watching. Eli and Desmond for production. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.